After just over a week away from the program, for me, I've come back to find that Republicans still haven't learned their lesson. I'm not talking about every Republican, of course. There are some that do fight for us every day, legitimately. No, I'm talking about the so-called principled ones, you know, the elite Republicans, ones I call the conservative Pharisees. You know the ones I'm talking about, like Utah Senator Mitt Romney, who says that even though he doesn't need to, and his vote will be purely symbolic, he will vote to confirm Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, a symbol of his idiocy. You know, she's the judge who doesn't know what a woman is at her age, and she has children of her own, and gives light sentences to pedophiles, and also supports abortion anytime, for any reason. So a typical far-left Democrat. Mitt is endorsing this person, and I'm saying person because I don't want to misgender a possible Supreme Court justice. I'm not a biologist, after all. Here's what Mitt's statement revealed and said. After reviewing Judge Jackson's record and testimony, I have concluded that she is a well-qualified jurist and a person of honor. While I do not expect to agree with every decision she may make on the court, I believe that she more than meets the standard of excellence and integrity. I congratulate Judge Jackson on her expected confirmation, and I look forward to her continued service to our nation. What a wonderful and heartfelt message from Senator Romney. She is so honorable, so despite the fact her views will corrupt the country, likely hurt children and more, we should let her have power. It makes more sense every day why Senator Romney voted to impeach Donald Trump now, doesn't it? You hear that and you just go, really? This guy almost was president himself. Maybe we dodged a bullet on that one. Here's another question for you. Do you think Senator Romney would ever vote to impeach President Joe Biden? A man who clearly has ties to foreign money in places like Ukraine, Russia, and China, all through his son Hunter. I don't, because for some reason, Mitt thinks that our current president is also honorable. But in all honesty, I can't point to a single thing that President Biden has done in politics that I consider to be honorable. In fact, his career has been defined by the opposite. From slandering Justice Clarence Thomas of the Supreme Court to supporting segregation in his early days as a senator. And remember, his own vice president pointed that out, too, during a debate. Doesn't sound all that honorable to me. Oh, and Honorable Senator Mitt Romney voted against Ketanji Brown Jackson's nomination as a U.S. Circuit Court judge not long ago. So what changed between now and then? The only thing that changed was more of Brown's judicial record became available, including going soft on child pornography cases. So what do rhinos like Romney think they're accomplishing anyway? They're endorsing anyone who wants to subvert the conservative agenda and fighting against people who want to push the conservative agenda forward, like President Trump, for example. Senator Romney famously told CNN he didn't vote for President Trump in 2020. Now, he didn't say if he voted for President Biden or not, but I think it's safe to say that he did. I'll assume that he did, after what we're seeing right now in the White House anyway. And to put it into context, just so everyone can understand, so you understand, here's what conservative, honorable Senator Mitt Romney voted for. Listen.
The governor and I, and we were all doing a tour of the library here, and talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
Seriously? She graduated from law school. That was the Vice President of the United States sounding like she just pounded a strong doobie, explaining the time passage and the importance of the passage of time. She later went on to ask, have you ever really looked at your hand? I mean, just looked at your hand, dude. Oh, and Romney also voted for this.
And I'm deeply proud of the work she's doing as First Lady with Joining Forces initiative she started with Michelle Obama when she was vice president and now carries on.
Oh, Joe. That's the president talking about his wife, Jill Biden, the first lady, not Kamala Harris. So it sounds like he thinks Jill was vice president under Barack Obama. Maybe he doesn't remember clearly. These are definitely the people we want in charge of this country, right? Well, Mitt Romney thinks so. He also voted for record inflation, a war in Ukraine, oil shortages, food shortages, ending the dollar's reserve currency status. So essentially, the ruination of America and life as we know it. And knowing all of this, do you think he would vote for Joe Biden or President Trump come 2024? I think I know the answer to that one, and you do too. And Republicans like this are either deeply misguided or, frankly, deeply stupid. I say that with all the love intended. Because the Democrats they're supporting won't give Republicans the same courtesy Mitt is giving them. Remember this. They called Mitt Romney a racist. They even ran a television ad where he pushed grandma in a wheelchair off a cliff. President Biden even said that Mitt Romney would re-enslave black people. He actually said that. And if you don't recall, here it is.
Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
He's going to put you all back in chains. Yeah, I just don't get it with some of these rhinos, honestly. It's like Stockholm Syndrome or something. Fall in love with your captor. So they're voting for the demise of their own policies. They're also voting for outright stupidity and the destruction of America. Meanwhile, President Biden reaffirmed that he thinks Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. After denying that he was, of course, and the administration is now browbeating people who are against a war with Russia, basically calling them Russian collaborators or sympathizers. They're trying to be really tough on Russian human rights abuses, but say nothing about China. Here's MSNBC's Jen Psaki. Well, wait a second. She's still at the White House. Hard to tell the difference these days, but anyway. Here's Jen Psaki confirming everything I just said.
I'm wondering if the president wants to see China remain on that Human Rights Council as well, given that his administration has already made a determination that China's engaged in genocide against the Uyghur people.
Well, our focus right now on the international stage on this question is on Russia, given the invasion of Ukraine and given what we're seeing, the photos from Bucha, others that we may see in the future. Obviously, we will continue to press publicly and privately where we have concerns about human rights violations, including as it relates to China.
And don't worry, it gets even worse. Much worse, because the administration is now admitting its sanctions against Russia aren't working. Not at all. I know you're shocked. I am. Listen.
Sanctions are intended to impose costs so that Russia cannot carry on these grotesque acts without paying a severe price for it. The other is to have an effect on Russia's behavior over time. But as President Biden has made clear repeatedly, we don't expect that that shift in behavior will be caused by sanctions overnight or in a week. It will take time to grind down the elements of Russian power within the Russian economy, to hit their industrial base hard, to hit the sources of revenue that have propped up this war and have propped up the kleptocracy in Russia. That's going to take some time to play out.
I'll bet Jake was popular in high school, don't you think? One of the big popular guys on campus. Anyhow, the administration also against Florida's anti-grooming legislation. Here's MSNBC's Inside the White House correspondent once again, Jen Psaki, on that topic. Listen.
So if you guys oppose this law that bans classroom instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in K through 3, does the White House support that kind of classroom instruction before kindergarten?
Do you have examples of schools in Florida that are teaching kindergartners about sex education?
I'm just asking for the president's
Well, I think that's a relevant question, because I think this is a politically charged, harsh law that is putting parents and LGBTQ plus kids in a very difficult, heartbreaking circumstance. And so I actually think that's a pretty relevant question.
So here's the thing. Jen Psaki just undermined her entire comment, her entire point, because if there aren't any examples of teachers pushing sexual orientation on kindergartners to third grade students, well, then this law would change nothing, nothing at all, and there's absolutely no reason to push back on it. You see, Democrats have to go through so many mental hoops just to justify the things they say they believe to be true. And it is these people who Senator Mitt Romney and other, may I be so bold as to say, fake Republicans. Fake. They're not real Republicans. This is not Ronald Reagan. Mitt Romney fancies himself as some sort of a Ronald Reagan. Please. These are the fake Republicans that are enabling the others, the far left fringe, to run our country. And all I ask is this. When is the Republican Party going to grow a pair? Seriously. President Donald Trump has one. That's why he won the nomination not once but twice. The real question is, who else can join him to stand up for this country?